G'day guys, Matt here from Waterpro. We're out here today at a tenant's property. They've just acquired a new rental and the back lawn, I guess, is probably a little bit lackluster. Their intention is obviously to get it back to a nice, green, healthy state. And the first thing they want to be doing is putting an irrigation system in. The tenants reached out to Waterpro and asked them to do an irrigation system design and quote for them. They've given us their measurements, which is 8 metres by 6 metres. And one thing that we require from them is to do a bucket flow test from their tap. What this involves is getting a bucket and putting it under a tap. You turn the tap flat out prior and then put the bucket underneath and measure how long it takes to fill that bucket. In this case, the bucket is a 9 litre bucket, and we'll measure the amount of water coming out into this as well. We'll turn this on as quickly as we can. And we're just timing how long it takes to fill this bucket. So we've worked out that it takes 23 seconds to fill the 9 litre bucket. So we do the 9 divided by 23 multiplied by 60, which gives us a 23 litres per minute of flow rate. So the customer's gone back to Waterpro with that 23 litres a minute flow rate. Waterpro's then created an irrigation design and a quote to be able to produce to that customer. From there, the customer's gone ahead with it and we've been able to deliver the irrigation system to them. What the system ended up being for this, being based on a 6 metre by an 8 metre area, was a 6 sprinkler system where we have 3 sprinklers across the top and 3 sprinklers down the bottom. Now, because this customer is actually renting a property, they've opted not to want to put an irrigation trench in the ground and bury everything, and rather stay above ground and actually have a temporary system so they can decide to move it. If they go to another house, they can take that system with them, and hopefully that system, or at least components of that, will be available to be used in the next house as well. All right, so the customer's gone ahead with the quote. We've provided them with the irrigation plan and we've sent them out the box of materials along with a roll of polypipe. A couple of different options. When we do a DIY sprinkler kit, it does normally come with a 12mm garden hose. In this situation, because we had enough flow, we're able to get all 6 sprinklers on the one station or the one tap instead of having to break that up. So instead of doing the garden hose, we're able to supply the customer with 19mm polypipe. And that way they'll be able to water their entire garden all at once. Inside the box, we've got 6 above ground sprinkler spikes. We're using the Rainbird R-Van in this situation because it best suited the spacings that were available for the lawn. As we've said, this is an above ground spike. Because the customer is renting the property, if they were to choose to move, they were able to pull these up and move to the next property without having to dig up or leave the stuff that they've purchased into the ground. It's also a lot easier to not have to put that through their landlord as well. So we've got the irrigation plan, and the first thing we want to do is mark out where the sprinklers are going to go on the yard. Now we've measured it being 8 metres by 6 metres, and then we can lay out, looking at the colour-coded plan, showing the maroon sprinklers with the corners. Now we'll be able to put those into the corners like we would here. The blue one being here on the end, being that this has got an end cap as well, should be the end of the system. That will go here. Another maroon for the corner up the top here. Another blue 180 degree up here. This one here being straight through will come through down on this corner here. And the last one, another maroon being on that top corner. So we know we've got enough fittings, and now we'll go out and place them out onto the lawn as well. So we've laid a tape measure across the yard, and obviously this is the long 8 metre section. We're going to put 1 in each corner and 1 down halfway as per the irrigation plan. So this one's at 4 metres, so we'll put this one here, and the next one will go in the corner. And then we'll repeat the process and do it on the same side. All right, now that we've placed the sprinklers where we need them in the lawn, the next step is to take the polypipe, unravel that and install them to each sprinkler. The benefit of putting the sprinkler at the end of the line first is we're able to put that spike into the ground and give us some tension to be able to pull back to the next sprinkler. We'll come back to this spot, put this sprinkler in the ground as well. We know our distance there. Come up to this spot, cut the pipe to where we need it, push that onto the barb fitting, slide the ratchet clip over the top of the barb, clip with your fingers, then using a pair of multi-grips or a pair of pliers, just nipping those nice and tight there. That one's ready to go, and we'll do the same here. Now we will connect, making sure all these fittings are nice and tight as well. And we move to the next sprinkler. Move to the next one. A handy tip when unrolling the poly pipe is to grab the pipe from the outside of the roll when you first get it. That way it's not uncoiling from the inside and causing kinks. When you grab it from the outside of the roll, it allows you to basically walk backwards like so. Without that pipe coiling up and winding tight on itself in the middle. Again, making sure all of our fittings are nice and tight. All tapered threads here. These ones have O-rings built into them as well, which makes things a lot easier. Pointing that elbow back down the line, put that into the ground wherever we can find a soft spot to do so. Again, because this is an above ground system, these can be lifted and moved. So as we said, this job's using the Rainbird R-Van nozzle. This is a variable arc nozzle, meaning it is adjustable from 45 to 270 degrees. What you might notice with the R-Van is there's a nice white line being put on this product here. That indicates your left edge. So on a sprinkler system, if it was a half circle, you would have that edge pointed this way, and then we would adjust the right. The left edge is what's fixed. The adjustments on this sprinkler are quite simple. If we want to flush the system, it's just a case of pulling this nozzle up while it's in operation, and water will purge out and give that a clean and a flush. If we want to do any adjustments on its arc, being from 180 degrees back down to 90 degrees, for example, what we do is while it's operating is we push down on the product and turn it this way to close the angle, making it less, or we go clockwise and we open up the angle to go right out to 270 degrees. If the sprinkler is throwing too far, or we want to open it up and make it throw even further up to its maximum capacity, there is an adjustment inside here which allows us to turn this collar accordingly, and then you can hear that click, which means it's reached its maximum set point, which would be that's at its smallest distance. And then if we want to open it back up again, we wind anti-clockwise and we raise that back up. All right, we've installed the last sprinkler. The next thing to do is bring that poly pipe back to our tap point. Now there's a couple of options. In this situation, the customer's just elected to be able to turn that tap on manually. We can add tap timers, we can put Wi-Fi tap timers in there, we can put that back to a solenoid valve and to a control system if you really wanted to. The result's the same. I guess the main difference is how you then choose to program and schedule. In this situation, they're happy to go back to a tap and then manually turn that on accordingly. So what we're going to do is we'll take this pipe back to the tap approximately. We've got a snap-on hose fitting here that'll allow us to connect to the standard tap, but then go to our 19mm poly pipe as well. So what I'll do is I'll connect that to the tap first. See where we're happy from a lengthwise standpoint there. Cut that. Now because this is a clamp system, there's no need for us to use a clip in this situation. We're just going to put that back up inside. Tighten that off and we're done, ready to turn the system on and start testing. Okay, now we've got the sprinklers operating, we want to adjust the arcs to make sure that they're all watering exactly where they need to. As we mentioned earlier, the white line is now on this side, which is pointing down our left-hand side. That's our fixed edge, and we want to adjust the right-hand side to make sure that we're on that edge as well. So we push down and turn this clockwise, and that'll open up our arc. Again, if we've gone too far and we want to make that smaller, we can push back down again and turn the arc, release, and we're back down to 45 degrees clockwise, We're back out to 90 degrees. Now in the peak of summer, for a kikuyu lawn or a warm season turf, I'd like to see something around that 25 mils of water on average a week. That's in the peak of, say, December, January, February, those sort of months. This is for South Australian climates, but a warm season turf normally requires about 25 mil or an inch of water a week. We know that the system's giving us 15 mils of water an hour, which tells us we need to be watering about 1.6 hours a week. Now that works out at about 100 minutes. If we were to apply 100 minutes worth of water onto this lawn right now, we would have water runoff, we would have mud puddles, we would have all sorts of things going on. So we need to monitor that infiltration rate. So what I would advise the customer to do is water that 100 minutes over 3 different nights, meaning a 33 minutes or 33 to 34 minute watering window 3 times a week. So maybe a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday for 33 minutes. That'll achieve the 25 mils across the lawn at the same time. Now another important factor is when is it best to water? We get asked this question a lot. The best time to water is right before sunup in the morning. A lot of the times that's not always practical, and so we see a lot of watering getting done at night times or at 10 o'clock at night. In a hot, humid environment, even in Adelaide's weather where it is a bit drier, nighttime watering can leave the leaf wet overnight, which can promote fungus and disease. I do recommend watering as soon as you can get up in the morning if you're on a manual system, or have it scheduled to come on just before the sun gets up. That way the water gets into the soil profile and then the sun can come up and dry the leaf canopy immediately. If you're looking for an irrigation system for your front or back lawn, we'll be able to provide you with a quote and a free irrigation design using our online design tool. Reach out to waterpro.com.au now.